Welcome back to Robin Reviews. The coach Bombay is back. I'm not spoiling Game Changers. I'm talking about the second review in the Mighty Ducks series. As I said in my Game Changers review, I was going to watch the movies in order, and I did finally get a chance to rewatch what I thought was a classic in Mighty Ducks. The Mighty Ducks. It's still a classic, but when you watch it as an adult, you lose some of the magic. And so I thought about scripting this out, and I thought, no, I'm just gonna roll with it. The first thing that I gotta say is you almost forget about some of the other players. If you said to someone today, "Who's your favorite Mighty Duck from the movies?" you're gonna hear Averman, Carp maybe, Banks, Conway, Morrow, and some of the other players, but you're not going to hear like Peter or Tommy or Tammy. So I laughed when I saw them because I forgot they were in it. Peter is the one that gets a couple opportunities to be mouthy. He's the one who overhears Bombay sarcastically say they're losers, they deserve to die. And so you don't really think about players like that. And so watching it again, I said, okay, I'm going to ask myself by the end of the movie who my favorite character is, least favorite character, and then I think the best hockey player. And I got to say, I think starting off, I think Peter is probably the worst character just because he's barely there. Unless there's like a sweeping shot. I don't think I've ever seen him play hockey. I couldn't tell you what number he is. And it's sad that I can tell you what some of the other numbers are, but you're thinking of the 00, 4, 33, 96, 99, and anyone who knows the movies knows what I'm talking about. The best character I gotta say is Charlie Conway. For that first time when you really get a glimpse of him when he's being pinned against the boards and he just refuses to cheat. Just love the character development from disliking the coach to loving the coach. I think, and you think Bombay is a good character. He's a confusing character because he gets this disdain for hockey and then yet jumps back in and then goes for that tryout at the end, and so it's a bit of a confusing character. But I gotta say, the obvious name comes to mind for good hockey players is Adam Banks, the Hawk, who in District 5, the lines, he actually should have been a Duck, and all his little friends are Hawks and all those things, and they try to bribe them, and Bombay actually loses his job over it. But for me, one of the low-key best hockey players in the movie is actually Guy. Now, growing up, Guy and Connie was classic, but if you watch the movies, forget Banks and Conway, it's often Guy who does a lot of things right. Good speed, good hands, and so I think he's probably under the radar, one of the best hockey players in the movie. And now, I do love the movies that are classics, but I'm going to give two things that I don't like about the movie. First, they got really lazy in the movie. I don't know if you've ever noticed this, and maybe I should be a little bit embarrassed that I did. But after Banks gets injured in the finals game, the state final game against the Hawks, he goes down, Jesse calls him a cake eater, and you can tell he finally likes him. That's all fine. But to then, if you fast forward about 2 minutes, same hockey game, they don't mention his name, but if you actually watch the jerseys, 99 and clearly Banks is seen skating around multiple times. Now, I don't know if we're supposed to believe that he was good enough to re-enter and they just didn't mention it, but I think the fact that they didn't mention it means they probably meant for him to be injured, and they probably just had filmed those scenes maybe for the earlier hockey. No, I guess it wasn't the earlier hockey against the Hawks because Banks was on the Hawks. So I don't really know what they were doing. I just think they got lazy. I think that maybe they pieced together footage from the first period or whatever they were trying to do. It was lazy. If, however, they just decided not to tell us that Banks was back in, then that just makes no sense, because then you'd have Banks more vital at the end, and I think that's what helps with the whole Charlie getting the penalty shot and using the apparently incredibly good deke of the triple deke, even though it's really just stick handling. and so that was lazy. But even worse so, and I read a great article, and if I can find the link again, I'll post it. But even more mind-boggling is the whole opening sequence with Bombay when he was a kid. So if you'll remember, they play it up as this penalty shot, and I quote, that will win the game. Now, at no point, if you think about the logistics of hockey, could that be true? You know, so most likely, when you watch it, it's a tied hockey game. So yes, he hits the post, doesn't score. But the other team celebrating like they just won makes no sense. Because even if it was actually could win the game, so even if you're talking about final seconds of regulation and it's tied, or overtime, him stopping would keep the game tied, and there'd be no reason for the other team to be celebrating like that. It would keep going, and then, you know, I mean, obviously they lost the game because you find out later, but just that whole montage of he's let his coach down because he doesn't break the tie makes no sense. The team should not be celebrating, because basically they just celebrated as if the game is still tied. So that makes no sense. It's a little frustrating, but it's something I never really noticed before. I was just like, oh yeah, he's going to win the game with a penalty shot. But when you actually think of it, it's not a shootout like in the NHL today. It is what it is. But it's so funny when I watch some of these old movies again, realizing who's in it. I mean, I knew obviously Joshua Jackson's in it, but even MC Gainey, who was in Lost, Tom, who was one of the others, or I think someone in one of those things called Mr. Smiley, but Tom is in it. He's the limo / van driver that the law firm assigns to Gordon to get him around since it was a DUI. And then Jussie Smollett, I don't know how you pronounce that. I'm not going to get into that whole thing from years ago, but you lose these things. He was Terry Hall. It was Jesse's brother. And so it's just one of those little things that when you look back and you see some of the names flash across the screen, you're thinking, they're in this? And so, yeah, I mean, I still love the original movie, but, you got to kind of watch it, but turn off the I'm now an adult part, and I can notice these things and just enjoy it for what it is. I also, I know it's for drama's sake, but I just wonder, how did that terrible hockey team ever get any good? And I refuse to believe that some eggs and tying Goldberg to the net really has that much of an effect. I will say, though, and again, not spoilers, but if I had to pick one character, and I'm not going to say whether they've done this or not, but if I had to pick one character that I would love to see over one of the seasons of Mighty Ducks Game Changers give a cameo, it's and I apologize if I forget the actor's name, but it's Goldberg. You read up on his story, he's been through a lot, but that actor has come a long way, and so I'd love to see him reprise his role. Just a great character, really humorous moments, but then there's a few others as well. But anyway, original Mighty Ducks, if I was to gauge it right now as a movie today, I'd probably only be giving it like a 6 out of 10. But if I remove the critical adult side of my brain, I'm just doing it for entertainment and nostalgia's sake, it probably would get like a 9.5 out of 10. Let me know what you think in the comments. Let me know what your favorite movie of the Mighty Ducks series is. I'll let you know after I review the third one which my favorite one was. And if you're watching and you're keeping track of what I ranked them, you might figure it out ahead of time. They're all good movies. They're all good if you want to shut your brain off. I just like to look at them deeper. And so when I do the second one, the classic Team USA, I will also do best worst character and best hockey player, and we'll go from there. But thanks for watching, and I hope you are enjoying these videos. Give me a like and subscribe if you're able, but if not, just keep enjoying. Thanks. Bye.